One project that I love talking about is a project we completed for a client in the entertainment industry. And they were very interested in how someone spends a weekend in Las Vegas. That's a really difficult topic to figure out. Why? Well, first of all, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Number two, so you're going to have people doing things that they might not want publicly shared in any way, public even to one other person. Number two, people don't often recall what they've done in a weekend. Think about the last weekend you have. If I asked you to name every single thing you did in that weekend, you probably couldn't do it. Because recollection is horrible, especially recollection of moments where you're out of your natural environment. Challenge number three is it's a vacation. And so if someone's spending a few hours on a vacation, let's say 4 or 5 days on a vacation, 3 or 4 days on a vacation, why would they spend it with you, weird research person? So our challenge was to put together a research methodology that allowed us to understand how someone, or how a group of friends even, or any kind of group, spent a weekend in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a really interesting tourism market. People go there for a reason. The reason's different for everyone, but they go there for a reason. They're generally not going there to visit family or friends. They might be going with family or friends. And the tourism market in Vegas has changed over the years. Whereas it used to be what I would call older people who gambled and gamed or went for events or shows. Now it's turned a little bit younger. And that millennial audience in Vegas is really interesting because it's a growing audience and it's an audience that has disposable income and time to spend, and it's a growing audience. So how do you understand millennials in Las Vegas? How do you understand millennials who are visiting Las Vegas? It's a challenge. And the way we did it was interesting. We called it Project 72 because the whole thing took place over 72 hours. And we used a number of different ways to capture that information. One of them was by talking to employees of casinos and entertainment spots and box offices to try to understand what they've heard from people and how third party and second party people react when they're given a set of circumstances. Okay. We also did a thing where we talked to employees of event spaces and actually went to event spaces and just sat there and watched how people interacted in a club, at a pool party, on a concourse, on the street. We did a bunch of spot interviews, streeter interviews, where we walked up to people and asked them, hey, can we talk to you for a minute? And we gave them a small offer, and we asked about their weekend, how it was going. But that only gets you so deep. So we had to find a way to really understand, how does someone spend 72 hours in Las Vegas? We pre-recruited a bunch of people who were already planning on going to Las Vegas for that weekend. And the incentive you can't give them in advance because then it will change the way they react over the weekend. So we promised them money after the fact, and we promised them access if they wanted it to things that they couldn't get otherwise. And we picked them up at the airport as they arrived in Las Vegas in limousines. And we did these 20-minute long in limo arrival interviews on camera to get their reaction as they came into the city, as they started their vacation. 20 minutes, talk to us about how you're feeling, and then go and do whatever you want. We asked to meet them one time during the weekend, just for a quick hour-long sit-down, tell us how things were going, which they did. And we tried to meet up with them along the way. So we'd send text messages. Hey, can we meet with you? What are you guys up to? Let's meet up with you. And we did this with 4 different groups of people from 4 different places over that weekend. And it gave us a really good insight into how these people were reacting to the city of Las Vegas, to being a tourist there, to how they made choices about where they went, why they went, how much time they spent in a place, how those choices changed. And our client for this project, who was a client who's very involved in the entertainment space in that environment, learned a lot about a specific segment of an audience and how they reacted and how they acted during a weekend in Las Vegas.